Staff meteorologist Paul Trombley from the Weatherology Weather Center. Bright sunshine expected today. Daytime highs approaching 79. Northwesterly winds 10 to 20 miles per hour. Lows dip down to about 40 tonight. Clear skies. High temperatures reach up to 67 tomorrow. Ample sunshine expected. Ample sunshine expected Thursday with daytime highs approaching 77. 63 Friday. Take a look at the extended forecast. 63 Saturday, 73 Sunday, and 79 on Monday. Another look at the short range. Highs reach 79 today, a low of 40 tonight. We should top off around 67 tomorrow. Get up to the minute weather updates from the Weatherology Weather Center. I'm staff meteorologist Paul Trombley on this NWKS radio station. Currently 48.
Lowe's knows that to win the job, pros need the best prices. That's why only at Lowe's, MVP's Pro Rewards members can get a volume discount on eligible orders as low as $1,500 at the Pro Desk. That means you get the prices you need to start any job, small or large, because Lowe's knows pros. Valid in-store only. More terms and restrictions apply. Visit Lowes.com/terms or Pro Desk for details.
I don't feel so good.
You do feel hot. Dayquil Kids will take care of that fever.
What about my cough?
Dayquil Kids has that covered.
Will it make my throat feel better?
Yes, that too.
But will it taste good?
Yep, Dayquil Kids comes in your favorite flavor.
Purple?
Well, yes, it's great.
Try new Dayquil Kids Plus Fever, the daytime coughing, aching, sore throat fever just for kids medicine. Safe for kids 6+. Use as directed.
The one hail of a sale continues at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. Get huge savings on not just lightly hailed on vehicles, but also ones that don't have hail or have had the hail fixed. How about a 2024 GMC Sierra 1500 SLE with hail up to $13,000 off when trading in an eligible vehicle, now only $49,000. A 24 Chevy Tahoe RST with hail up to $14,000 off, now just $58K. It's one hail of a sale, and it continues at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. Online at hurlchev.com.
At FNB Bank, we understand the backbone of our community is our local farmers and ranchers. Whether you're growing crops, raising livestock, or investing in new equipment, we're here to help you succeed. Our agricultural loans are tailored to meet the unique needs of your farm, with flexible terms from people who understand what it takes to make it in agriculture. When you partner with FNB Bank, you're working
Rocket 102.5, of course, AM 730 Gold, KLOE. Also, of course, at the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube at ndbksradio.net, where you can listen to our audio stream online. Thank you so much for hopping on the show here on this Tuesday morning. I know no show yesterday, and I apologize for kind of the quickness of dropping that on people on Friday, but sometimes things unfortunately just slip my mind and I forget to mention until the very last moment. But yes, no show this past Monday because I was making my way back from Central Missouri, where I went for a wedding for my wife's family, and got back last night around, probably pulled into the driveway right at around 7 o'clock Mountain Time, and ready to rock and roll here on this final full week, second to final full week of October. We still have another week? No, not quite. Actually, it is the final full week of October. If you think about it, because November 1st will be Friday. It will be a Friday. So the final full week of October here in the year of 2024. No Max Gershon, at least for the first segment. We will get to Max hopefully joining us in this back half of the show, where we will today talk weekend winners and losers, an extended edition, extended weekend. Extra long weekend of winners and losers. We'll get to that. We will get you an update on our pick six picks of the weekend as well. That is all coming up here in today's show. But I hope that everyone had a nice weekend. I know, once again, I'm late to the party joining the week, but hope everyone had a nice weekend. Hope everyone had a good start to their week on Monday. Currently, we are sitting at 50 degrees outside. We'll expected high today of 78. A little blustery out there this morning to get things going, but not terrible. I saw a young lady making her way to school this morning, walking there with a hoodie on and had her backpack, and I think it was some sort of instrument for the band. So, it's not terribly cold out there, but I say the wind does make it a little brisker than it usually has been, at least the past few mornings. But nonetheless, and expected to be kind of fall-like temperatures all week. Temperatures anywhere from, today I think might be one of the warmest days of the week. Temperatures around the 80s. And then we might have another day in the upper 70s. We got some temperatures coming in the mid 70s, possibly a little bit cooler than that. But going to be a nice temperature week-wise, I would say, here on this final full week of October. As always, the FNB Bank text line is open if you would like to join the program and chip in with some thoughts and comments throughout the show. By all means, please do. The number 785-899-2222. That's going to be part of the Morning Blitz here on this Tuesday morning. I want to, in the first segment for sure, dive into local sports. There's a ton. It's a very, very busy past couple of days in the local sports scene. When you total in, of course, not only football and what was week 7 on Friday, but into especially starting up on Monday, a very, very busy day for the ladies with state golf getting going across the state, and also regional volleyball for the upper classifications. 3A, I think 4A and 6A, I think are playing as 4A, 5A, and 6A, I think are playing as well. But the upper classifications, lower classifications will begin postseason play today with the regional round. But there was regional volleyball yesterday and state golf yesterday. We'll start on the links. And as kind of expected, two of the better teams in 3A are from our neck of the woods. Both Goodland and Colby qualify for day 2. And so the way it worked is, once again, it's the top 6 or the 6 lowest team scores, and then the 6 lowest individuals that make the cut for the state golf tournament day number 2. So after day 1, you got to be a top 6 team in the team standings, or be a top 6 individual who's not a part of one of those 6 teams. And after day number 1, both Goodland and Colby, as well as Rollins County's Amelia Bulls, mind you, have all made the cut for day number 2. Very, very good showing from our area teams, that is for sure. Looking at the results, once again, I hope this got pulled up here. It's kind of been a little, to be completely honest with you, this whole spreadsheet has kind of been a little weird today, and I've been trying to pull it up and get the results, but it has not been very easy, to be completely honest with you. There we go. Now it is working, but Amelia Bulls leads the way individually wise. The Rollins County Lady Buffalo shot a very impressive 71. I mean, I don't know what the par is there at Emporia, but it can't be. That's either even, one over, or maybe one under. I mean, it's right there. But she shot a 71 to lead the field. She is besting Wichita Collegiate's Margaret Ulrich, who sits in second place with a 72. Those two are a good distance ahead of the third place finishers at this point in time. If you were to cap it after day one, they were a good 8 to 9 strokes ahead of the third place individuals. But when you look at the team standings, top 6 teams made the cut. Colby just getting in the 6th spot with a 384. That was 7 strokes better than Heston, who missed the cut, and 10 strokes behind Jeff West, who was the 5th best team, who thought of 374. So Colby at 384, Jefferson West at 374. Goodland currently sitting in 4th place with a 373. So they are 1 stroke currently going into day number 2, which tees off today at 10 o'clock Central, 9 Mountain Time there from Emporia's Municipal Golf Course. They are sitting 1 stroke behind Silver Lake with the 372, who currently sits in 3rd. Ahead of Silver Lake by 5 strokes is St. Mary's Colgan. They are sitting there with the 367 after day 1. Caney Valley, 2 strokes ahead of them with a 365. So you look at it this way, the difference between number 1 and number 5 between Caney Valley and Jeff West is a whopping 9 strokes in the team stats. So it is anybody's race going into day number 2 down at Emporia at the 3 through 1A state golf tournament. Anybody's race team-wise. Once again, Caney Valley leading it after day 1 with 365. Jeff West is 5th with a 374. So once again, only 9 strokes behind the separating between 1 and 5. It is going to be an amazing race here on day 2 in the team standings. See who ends up bringing home some hardware and who just misses the cut on that. That's going to be very interesting. Looking at some of the individual scores, the top area golfer so far in this one has been Allie Cure through day 1. She shot a 44 on the front, a 42 on the back for an 86 total there in day number 1. Colby's Logan Nolan was not far behind. In fact, just 1 stroke. A 47 on the front, a 40 on the back. She was great on the back 9, and an 87 total for her. So she's just 1 shot back of Allie Cure. Tori Jones sticking around in the top 10 for Goodland, a 44 on both the front and the back to shoot an 88 there in that first round. Natalie Cure, about 5 golfers behind her with a 91 for Goodland. Colby got to go down to Natalie Woderski, probably sitting, let's see here, 1, 6, 10, probably around 15 or so is where you see Natalie Woderski sitting right there with a 92 at this point in time, some of the top golfers from the region. And those golfers all great, and they have to perform. Your Natalie Woderskis, your Logan Nolans, your Allie Cures, your Tori Joneses, and Natalie Cures, all those have to perform great. They have to have the rounds that they've had, at least that again today. And then what you're really hoping for is that some of your other ones that are down further on the scoreboard, you know, your 4, 5, and 6 golfers, after kind of getting a good feel for the course again yesterday, go out there and play with great confidence and help bring up the rear a little bit. If they can find a way to position themselves, take a few strokes off of each hole or of each couple of holes, take a few strokes off, all of a sudden, that's what makes the difference from jumping from, in this tight race in the team standings, from being maybe a 5th place team or a 4th place team, maybe it's number 1 or maybe it's number 2. Now, of course, we've all seen happen the other way, where you go out and have a great first round, you fall apart in the second round. I do this more often than not. And then we'll see what happens there. But this is a very, very tight and interesting race team-wise when it comes to what's happening down in Emporia for girls' state golf. Like I said, 6 teams are still in contention, but 5 are separated by a total of 9 strokes, which is extremely close. So anything could happen. Anything could happen today. We'll see what the weather's like. That always plays a factor. But yeah, I mean, my guess is the course might be a little soggy. I know some rain came across the state here yesterday, so there might be a little bit of moisture on the course. But yeah, I'm excited to see what happens today in the 3 through 1A girls state golf tournament down in Emporia. You look at those numbers and you've got 5 teams all within 9 strokes, and Colby's, just 19. So it's not like they're a long, long ways out, but they're definitely a little further than everybody else is. So once again, recapping, 2 teams from our region, Colby and Goodland, making the final cut as teams. So they will be playing again today as a squad for the final time this season. Colby sitting in 6th, Goodland sitting in 4th. But once again, Goodland in the mix of those 5 teams separated by 9 strokes. So it's anybody's trophy to bring home at this point in time heading into day number 2. And then individually wise, Amelia Bowles for Rollins County sitting atop of the leaderboard with a 71. Just 1 stroke ahead of Margaret Ulrich, and we'll see who ends up winning that race. I feel like it's kind of a 2-horse race for who's going to take home the individual gold down in Emporia here today. We'll find out more on that. But Allie Cure's in the top 10 position for Goodland. So is Logan Nolan for Colby. Tori Jones is in a top 10 spot there. Natalie Cure hovering around that as well. So a very interesting round number 2 coming up today from Emporia's municipal golf course. Look forward to seeing how it all shakes out. Like I said, very, very interesting race happening in Emporia. So a quick update there from the Acacia Girls Golf Tournament. By the way, first tee-off times are at 10 a.m. Central Time, as I mentioned earlier. I want to make sure. Yeah, so that's all. I think I want to make sure that's right. I think I saw it was 10 a.m., I believe. Yeah, 10 a.m. is when it will all get going here. And I think some of the first golfers off the tee box for Goodland will be Sadie Cedarstrom, it looks like, at 10:30, if I'm reading that correctly. Colby's first lady off the tee will be Lakin Sims, also at 10:30, it looks like. So, anyway, very interesting race happening over there in Emporia. They'll be tracking that all day, and I'll get you a report update on that tomorrow morning here on the Blitz. So I'll get you update on who won. Once again, I feel pretty good about Amelia Bowles finishing 1 or 2, probably individually. But that team race, I have no idea. It depends on who can handle the pressure, who makes clutch shots down the stretch, clutch putts, and ends up just getting a few extra strokes here or there picked up. Doesn't fall apart in day 2. That's another big thing. That happens quite often, unfortunately. Who stays alive, who plays well on the second day to bring home some hardware. We'll see if Coach Goods and the Goodland Cowgirls get it done. We'll see if Colby has a great second day. Maybe they're able to get into the top 3, top 2, and bring home some hardware. We'll find out more here over the coming next few hours. Also yesterday was, of course, the first edition, at least in 3A and below, of the new postseason format for volleyball, with regionals taking place yesterday across the state. And all the area teams from our listening region are all in quad 4. So to break this down for those who might be confused on the new postseason on how it works for volleyball, imagine cutting the state into into quarters. So you cut one right down the middle going north and south, and one down the middle going east and west. Now you'll have to move that line, and I'll just use 3A as an example. You'll have to move that line probably further, the north and south one further to east, to where it is equal amount of teams in each 4 quadrants. Once those are cut, then you are seeded 1 through 16 based upon your regular season record. The top 4 seeds get to host. And then what happens, host a quad of 4 teams. And you play round robin there. And you pretty much need to win 2 matches to advance on. Well, it would be helpful to win 2 matches. I guess you could win one if everybody else wins, kind of a 1 type deal. And then it comes down to tiebreakers and things like that. But you need to win 2 matches in order to advance for Sub-State, which is here this Saturday. And an update there when it comes to what happened this past weekend, or what happened here yesterday in the 3 region. There were 3 regional teams that still remain alive after yesterday. Colby is one of them. The Lady Eagles were able to finish in the top 2 of their own little pod, if you want to call it that. They were at the event center. They swept Southwestern Heights and Russell, pretty much guaranteeing them a spot to move on. Then they took on Holcomb, and Holcomb beat them in 3. Pull that up here real quickly here. So in that quad with Colby, which was quad D, Colby beat Southwestern Heights 25-11, 25-9. They then beat Russell 25-13, 25-14. And then they lost to Holcomb in their final one. They lost 25-21, won set 2, 25-16, lost set 3, 25-18. So Holcomb and Colby both had gotten to 2-0 before that meeting yesterday at the event center, and Holcomb got the best of it. I'll be intrigued to see what that does. That's going to help in your seeding when it comes to the sub-state bracket, and we'll see how that all pans out. I'm not 100% sure how the sub-state level works yet. We'll get more clarity on that as the week progresses on. But Colby finished going 2-1. Holcomb went 3-0. Those two teams advance to Saturday. Goodland went to Minneapolis. That was quite a long day. The Cowgirls, I think, left at 9:30 in the morning and probably didn't get back until probably 10:30, 11:30 last night. It was a late, long day and a lot of bus travel. I mean, the Cowgirls spent probably just as much time on the bus as they did playing volleyball yesterday, and the Cowgirls went 0-3. Goodland was swept by Beloit 25-11, 25-8. They were then swept by Minneapolis 25-12, 25-20, and then were they were swept by Smoky Valley 25-17, 25-21. So the Cowgirls swept in all three matches. They finished 0-3, and their season is done at 6-30 here in 2024. Beloit, as well as Beloit, who was the regional winner, with Smoky Valley being the regional runner-up. Those two teams advance into the regional rounds on Saturday. And then when you go to the 2A level yesterday, which is where Oakley and Hoxie were competing, and both of those teams have made it onto Saturdays. Oakley took care of business rather easily as the Lady Plainsmen were able to, as I pull this up, sweep the likes of Waukene Trigo 25-10, 25-14, Syracuse 25-23, and 25-5. That's right. And then they also get the sweep of Phillipsburg 25-22, 25-21. So Oakley wins their little sub-state as the regional winner, and Phillipsburg finishes in second place. And then Hoxie, who came in as the 9 seed in this quad, I not said this, but in their region, I should say, the 9 seed in their region, they were able to pick up a couple of wins. They were able to sweep Johnson County 25-13, 25-7. They were able to sweep Hill City 25-7, 25-15. And then they lost in straight sets to Ellenwood, who was the number 1 seed in that little quad there, 25-12, 25-17. Ellenwood won that. And so Hoxie makes it to the next round on Saturday, being the regional runner-up, while Ellenwood is the regional winner. So once again, right now, in quick recapping, 3 teams remain alive in the postseason that have played at this point in time: Colby, Hoxie, and Oakley. Goodland, who played yesterday, their season is done as they lost all 3 matches over in Minneapolis. As for today, regional play continues for smaller area schools. So in Class 1A D1, we'll see Decatur Community and Rollins County going to Mankato Rock Hills. Greeley County will be at home hosting Osborne and Central Plains. St. Francis and Quinter are going to Ness City for regional play today. And then in Class 1A Division 2, you've got Weskin will be in Ingalls with Satanta. Wallace County will host Dighton and Deerfield. Wheatland Grinnell will host Cheylin and Rolla, and Golden Plains and Tri-Plains Brewster are headed to Moscow. Now, you'll notice something different there. We talked about the 3A and classifications about that. There are 4 teams in those little pods, so you had to win 2 matches to get done, and you have to finish in the top 2 to advance. Same thing, despite being just 3 teams in the lower classification. So there are only 3 teams in this pod, but you have to win 2 matches. I think you want to finish in the top 2 of the triangular, really, in order to advance to Saturday's regional round. So that's what's going on with high school volleyball yesterday. So top 2 teams from each regional advance to sub-state round that take place on Saturday. So yeah, there you go. That's an update on regional volleyball and state golf for you. We'll have more results tomorrow on the show when it comes to the smaller schools and how they did and who's advanced to the regional round on Saturday. And we'll know more Saturday on if you win on Saturday. I think you have to win, 2 matches on Saturday. I got to go back and read the rule book again on the new sub-state format for volleyball, but I think you have to win a couple of matches there, because now if you break it up in once again those 4 quadrants of the state, pretty much you're going to have 2 teams from each quadrant represented. So now you're down to 8. You got to finish in the top 2 of that quadrant, or you got to be one of the top 2 teams in that quadrant in order to advance to state. That's what has to happen on Saturday. So we'll get more depth into that, I think, tomorrow probably, and probably later on in the week as well. But once again, in recapping the first segment, very exciting day number 2 coming up here at 3218 Girls State Golf down in Emporia. Very exciting day with lots of teams still in the hunt and some very good golfers from our region looking to bring home some hardware. And then regional volleyball, Colby, Hoxie, and Oakley all advancing to Saturday. Goodlands, their season is done, and multiple area teams begin their postseason regional round here today. All right, it is 7:31 Mountain, 8:31 Central Time here on a Tuesday, October the 22nd. Shout out to my brother Riley. It is his birthday today, so wishing him a happy birthday. We'll take a break. When we come back, we will bring on Max Gershon. He'll join us, and we will do an extended edition of Weekend Winners and Losers. That is next here on the Morning Blitz on a Tuesday.
If you take electric or natural gas service from Midwest Energy, you're a co-op member. Midwest Energy is holding its annual meeting of members on Monday, October 21st, 10 a.m. at the Hilton Garden Inn in Hayes. Join us for a short meeting and maybe win one of several great door prizes. Again, that's the Midwest Energy annual meeting, Monday, October 21st, 10 a.m. at the Hilton Garden Inn in Hayes. Midwest Energy, a customer-owned cooperative making energy work for you.
It's time for a check of the markets with the Anderson Trade Group on the Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio Network.
Good morning. This is Kate Thompson with the Anderson Trade Group. Today is Tuesday, October 22nd. And on the overnight, these corn unchanged at 409.5. March down a quarter cent at 423. May down a quarter at 430 3/4. July down a half at 434 1/4. November soybeans up a quarter on the overnight at 981 1/4. January unchanged at 989 3/4. March up a quarter at 1002 1/4. May up a quarter at 1016 1/4. Chicago wheat, the December contract lower 2 1/4 at 570. March down 1 1/4 at 590 1/2. May down 2 1/4 at $6. July down 2 1/2 at 607. Kansas City wheat, the December contract lower 1 1/4 at 581. March down 1 1/2 at 595 1/4. May down 1 3/4 at 604 3/4. July down 1 1/2 at 612 3/4. On the stock market, the Dow down 155 at 43,022. The S&P down 29 at 5,867. The Nasdaq down 127 at 20,392. Gold higher $11.70 an ounce this morning at 2,750. Crude oil up 71 cents a barrel at 71.27. If you have any questions about marketing grain or would like to talk about risk management options, give our Colorado office a call, John Hankey or John Stiles at 970-744-4484, or in our Kansas City office, myself, Thomas Ludo, Jared Law, or Tyler Dosh at 913-748-3000.
The Anderson Trade Group, proud market partners with Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio. Find out more at andersongrain.com. The risk of loss through trading futures and or options is substantial, and each investor and or trader must consider whether this is a suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated, is not indicative of future results. The Anderson Trade Group has no guarantee that the advice given will result in profitable trades.
When challenging conditions arise, we don't back down. We up our game, outpacing the competition with innovations fueled by Bayer's R&D, keeping you equipped with an expanded portfolio, elite genetics, and additional local test plots. Channel leads the field, so you can rise above. See how you can save at channel.com/finance24. Read and follow pesticide label directions, grain marketing, and other stewardship practices.
Out here, we raise stronger people, stronger crops, and we proudly raise our flag to that. Let the weather, pests, and pressures try to beat us down. We only keep growing up. With the next-gen genetics, the pure acre-for-acre know-how of these soils, and a deep pride of our roots, We're born to raise at Hogemeyer. Learn more at therightseed.com.
Even though your attention has turned back to school with events and activities, you just can't forget everything going on at home. That's where your local Hoover Lumber Ace hardware stores in Goodland and Colby come in. Keep the lawn in check with mowers, blowers, and trimmers from Craftsman, Toro, and Ego. They are still your local Benjamin Moore paint retailer, and they still have that amazing selection of outdoor grills and griddles from Traeger, Weber, and Blackstone. Plus, their helpful and knowledgeable staffs are some of the best in the Northwest. It's all at Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby. Open every day but Sunday.
You're listening to the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
He talks about sports on the radio.
Picking up on a Tuesday show. Glad you're with us here on the Morning Blitz. Goodland's Rocket 102.5, AM 730 Gold, KLOE, the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream. Thank you so much for tuning on in. Good morning, Grandpa Dave. See, he's there this morning. I appreciate the kind words from Grandpa Dave this morning, listening to segment number 1, talking about perspective as a sports broadcaster. I appreciate that. I like to think I do keep it in perspective decently, Grandpa Dave. Max is with us again this morning. Good morning, Maxwell. How are we doing today?
I'm doing great. Just finished up the auction block.
AB?
We've got some people out of the station, but it went very well today. So
you'll learn. It's one of those things you kind of get into a groove and you actually kind of start to like it a little bit.
I did. You know what? At the end of it, I was like, I was in a rhythm. I was like, this isn't as bad as I thought. So yeah, that was a fun thing to learn. And now I'm here.
How has life been for you, kind of man of the house over there in Colby for the last few days?
It's been good. It hasn't been much going. It's a lot quieter.
I bet.
Goal, especially. But yeah, it's been good. It's just me, Redonda, and Shane, and we're living life over here at the Colby station.
Well, good deal. I'm glad things are going smoothly for you guys over there. But yeah, we still got a lot to get to here in our final segment, and I'd like to kind of, since we didn't have a show Monday, because once again, the reason we didn't have a show Monday is, once again, very shorthanded staff over in Colby. Max had some other things he had to take care of, and as I mentioned, I was trying to make my way back across the state of Kansas and half of Missouri from a wedding, which was a whole nother story in another sense. But nonetheless, made it back. I got back late last night, or probably around 7 o'clock. Not super late, but it was still dark when I pulled into the driveway. And so now back on the show here, and we'll be on the rest of the week here, getting you set for the rest of the week here in sports. But anyway, before we move on, I want to get to our weekend winners and losers, an extended edition of Weekend Winners and Losers.
There are two kinds of people in this world.
There's winners and there's losers.
Which ones were which this past weekend?
I want winners. Loser? You're a loser.
It's the weekend's winners and losers on the Morning Blitz.
Want to be a winner, be a winner.
Should be plenty of things to pick from there, Max. Got a lot of stuff to go through. Where's winners?
It was a busy weekend. My first winner is going to be Major League Baseball because of the money that is going to be made from this World Series. I mean, you can't, if you're making money in the MLB, front offices, or in the commissioner's office, or whatever you're doing up there, you're going to be making a lot of money from this series, because viewership is going to probably be at an all-time high, because you're getting the New York market and you're getting the LA market, and of course everyone else that wants to watch the World Series. You have the two biggest stars in baseball, and Aaron Judge, as well as, of course, Shohei Ohtani. So I think Major League Baseball is my first winner, for those reasons. And even as a third party fan, it doesn't get much better than this. So now all I can do is hope that we get to 7, or we get a good series. That's what I want from this. So I think Major League Baseball was definitely a winner this past weekend.
Yeah, I had on one of my winners. It was Rob Bamford. Bamford gets to be a winner of the weekend because he got exactly what he wanted. He got the big market teams to make it to the World Series with the biggest paid stars. You can tell my enthusiasm on this World Series. I could care less. I don't like the Dodgers and I don't like the Yankees, so I don't care. And I'm disappointed that my team, who was in the World Series last year, didn't make it back to even the postseason. So that's my own personal problem. But nonetheless, yeah, Yankees and Dodgers in the World Series. It's what every big it's what MLB baseball dreams of pretty much every single year. Can we please get LA, and can we please get New York? Can we please get that? They aren't going to say that publicly, but they're thinking it. They are. They want the biggest market because, like Max exactly said, lots of eyeballs, lots of money. And that's what Possible ones. And honestly, there's big stars in this game. Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton have been amazing to this point in time for the Yankees. And on top of that, also, of course, there's Shohei mixed up in here and all that. So, and there's lots of big time stars. And of course, we can't forget about, Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts. And, if you love money spent, these teams love to do it. And that money spent finally puts them in the World Series. Finally.
I saw a map, those maps of like what state is rooting for what team. So for this World Series, there was a map that was posted. I thought it was hilarious. I wish I could pull it up, but it was, navy blue in New York, navy blue in Florida, which makes sense.
Right.
And then you have Southern California, which is blue. And then everything else is red with a meteor in the middle of the country. It says, hoping a meteor destroys both teams.
That's exactly right. I am in that meteor group.
Yeah, I am too. But if I had to choose, I would choose the Dodgers.
I think.
Well, it might be different because I'm as a Royals fan in the American League. They beat us. I would rather the Dodgers. If the Yankees win, I can always be like, oh well, the Royals lost the World Series champion. But I don't want to see I like saying the Royals have won a more recent World Series than the Yankees. It makes me feel good.
I guess I don't know. I could care less who wins. But if I had to pick, if you're like Ross, who do you think will win? Oh man, I don't. That's the thing. I don't exactly love either team's pitching that much. I don't love it that much, but I guess I'll go with the Dodgers. I guess I know it should be, like you said, Max, it should be a good series. It should be. I think both these teams are very even. Humongous bats in the lineup that can put up bushels of runs and pitching stabs that have at times looked great. Other times have been like, what was that? So I don't know. I think I'll lean the Dodgers at this point in time, though.
Yeah, I think the deciding factor is the Dodgers have a more well-rounded lineup, and then I think the Yankees have the bullpen advantage. I don't even know who at some points is going to come out of the Dodgers bullpen, but the Yankees have their, they go Canely. They have, if Clay Holmes isn't pitching in the ninth, Clay Holmes is a very good reliever. And then Luke Weaver, of course, as their closer. So I think whichever of those two, groups of players plays better has a very, very good chance of winning this series.
Well, we'll find out more when that series begins on Friday night. My winner of the weekend, I'm going with the Wheat State College football teams. Hey, Kansas and Kansas State both get wins, and in dominant fashion, mind you, here this past weekend. They get it done. KU, of course, dismantled, taking care of business for that first Big 12 and FBS Division I win. They defeat Houston 42-14. Jalen Daniels, 3 touchdowns, goose egg and picks. And Devin Neal ran for 2 scores as well, get their first Big 12 win, 42-14. And then Morgantown wasn't even a test for Kansas State. They dismantled West Virginia. Avery Johnson, a career high 298 yards and 3 tutties. With a dominant 45-18 win over West Virginia. So K-State moves up 1 spot in the rankings. They're up to number 16 in this most recent AP poll that came out yesterday. Oregon, by the way, is number 1 after Texas lost to Georgia. But yeah, I think the Kansas, you felt good about K-State going to West Virginia. At least I felt good about that. That was maybe a little bit more dominant than I thought. And I think definitely Vegas thought. And I think we both felt like if Kansas was going to get a win, this was going to be it. And they got it done. I mean, Houston is definitely in a rebuild mode with Willie Fritz. I do believe they will be good in the coming years, especially a much improved team. But I don't know. KU needed that win. They had to have it because if they didn't get it, I don't know if they would have won a game the rest of the season. And that would have been a horrific collapse for Lance Leipold.
Yeah, and going into K-State next, that was they needed that. I was actually in Lawrence, not at the game. I was golfing during the game, but I was in Lawrence. I mean, it's 1 in 5. If this was like we're undefeated, I'm watching.
Well, I guess it doesn't matter because it was in Kansas City anyway, so it didn't really matter.
Right. So I wasn't, but I was in Lawrence golf. I was checking the score often because we were winning. I would have stopped checking immediately, probably on hole 3 if we were losing. But I was checking. Kobe Bryant had 3 picks. I watched some of the highlights. Yeah, it was it was good. That's what's supposed to happen when you have a team that talented. They're supposed to blow out teams that aren't as good. So hopefully that, can carry into some more wins, but much needed.
The schedule is not looking great for that, carrying into more wins. At K-State here this next weekend in the Dillon Sunflower Showdown. And then there's a couple more ranked games after that. So, yeah, it's not going to be easy. But, hey, you know what? You never know. At least you got off the schneid and you got that win. And now you can move on and hopefully get that done. But, yeah, and K-State dominant. Avery Johnson, they give West Virginia credit. They said, we're not going to let DJ Giddens beat us. I mean, they held him to 2 touchdowns. He did have 2 touchdowns, but I think he only ran for like 50 yards. It was like a season low for him. But Avery Johnson, he proved that he could beat him with his arm. 298 career passing yards. Hey, he got it done. Congratulations, Avery Johnson. He's continued to take these little tiny steps to becoming a very, very good quarterback in college football. Very good. My winner. Do you have any other quick winners of the weekend?
My last winner, who was my winner going to be? I think it was the Lions was going to be my second winner.
That was a nice win. Nice win Sunday.
That's the second straight week I've picked the Lions as a winner, and they're they're a winner. And they beat the Vikings, and it wasn't the prettiest at the end of the game. I know Montgomery fumbled there late, but they got the job done. And I still, if we had a power ranking list, I'm still putting them at number 1. I know the Chiefs are still undefeated, but I think the Lions are still the best team in football, and they proved it again this week.
Well, you know who I think I'm putting in number 1 is a team that won last night, the Baltimore Ravens.
Yep.
I'm telling you what, I am looking forward to that Chiefs-Ravens rematch when that happens in the postseason. I mean, it feels inevitable, doesn't it? Yeah. I mean, they look so good. So good. So yeah, I don't know. The Ravens look great. The Lions look great. That was a great game with the Vikings, by the way. That was just fantastically entertaining. The Chiefs mucked it up and got the win against the 49ers. That defense is playing elite, and thank goodness, because you know what's amazing to me, Max, is that if we were talking about quarterbacks and we were talking about a guy that's thrown probably more picks than touchdowns or just about equal amount, we'd be like, what in the world is going on there? Particularly if it's one of the best quarterbacks in the country. Patrick Mahomes has got just about as many interceptions as he does touchdowns this season. But it doesn't matter. The Chiefs are still unbeaten. That is nuts to me. And nobody picks him up. No one picks more like, geez, he hasn't been very good with the football this year. Doesn't matter. He gets the most important stat, and that's the win.
Yeah, and I was talking about this with a couple people after this game. That were asking me like, what's going on? What is happening with Mahomes? I know we're winning, but and I kind of was saying, I don't know how long this rub will last, but what he is right now and what he used to be in 2019, he was just a overall dynamic quarterback that was, throwing 50 touchdowns, 5,000 yards. I feel like now what he is, at least through these first 7 weeks, is he is a game managing quarterback with the ability to be dynamic. And he continues to make game winning plays when they need it the most. He's dynamic when they need it to be the most. And in the first halves, and he's had bad throws. Those 2 picks, I mean, you can blame they hit the D lineman, batted up in the air, and then Worthy fell down. It's just, it is what it is. But at the same time, I think he's managing the game well enough with this defense. And then at the end of the game, when they need him to score points, he's turning into that dynamic quarterback we're used to seeing for so long.
We'll see how it all goes. But, man, I'm still looking forward to that Ravens and Chiefs. That Ravens offense against that Chiefs defense, that's going to be juicy. I look forward to seeing how that all pans out here in the coming deals. All right. Let's move on to weekend losers. We only got so much time. Real quickly, some losers of the weekend.
Well, my main loser is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are going to be playing the Chiefs on Monday Night Football in a couple weeks, and they're not going to have Chris Godwin, and might not have Mike Evans. We'll see what happens with him. But yeah, I mean, they were trying to pull off a little miracle at the end, and then Chris Godwin's leg kind of was pointing in the wrong direction, and that's just never what you want to see in a game that's not winnable, really by any stretch of the imagination. And it's a tough scene because, they had I don't see that team winning without those 2 guys. And you have such a great start to the year. And, you think you have your quarterback and you've got these weapons, the 2 greatest weapons in Tampa Bay history, and they both go down in the same game that you lose. So I think Joe Buck said it perfectly last night, and he said there's losing and then I think there's losses. He said something about along those lines, and he was talking about how sure they lost the game, but the loss was much bigger than just losing to the Ravens.
Yeah, no, you're right. That's they're getting down to practice players now.
Yeah.
Right now, if you're the Buccaneers, and so that's a bad spot. And hey, if there's a quarterback to lead him through that, it's Baker Mayfield. He finds a way to make that work. So, but yeah, that was pretty rough last night for the Buccaneers. I only have one loser of the weekend, but it's a big one. It's a big one, and that's Nebraska football. Oh my gosh, what a loser of the weekend! I cannot believe. I'm glad. It's probably good we didn't have a show on Monday. I probably would have blown up because I'm not going to lie. That was a horrendous performance by Nebraska football. For those who don't know, Nebraska got absolutely murdered on the road by Indiana, 56-7. Nebraska had 1 touchdown, 5 turnovers. They went into the football game being one of the best rushing defenses in the country. In fact, they're the only rushing defense in the country that hadn't allowed a rushing touchdown at this point in time in the season. They gave up 5 rushing touchdowns. They couldn't stop. Indiana ran through them like hot butter. Like a hot knife through butter. Just went completely through them. And the offense could not put the ball in the end zone or score points. It was horrific. And it led to a lot, and then watching, post Matt Rule in the post-game press conference, his saying that I thought we were going to play great. We were going to play great. I felt great going into the game. And then the game started. That's a concern. It's a concern. And I love Matt Rule. I met Matt Rule. He's great. And I hope the best for him. But it's a concern. If you think your team's going to play great and you show up and you look like that is a problem. Some coaches need to be put on warning. As in, hey, you need to get your poop in a group or it's time to get out of here. Marcus Satterfield, offensive coordinator. Special teams coordinator, Coach Foley. Those guys need to be put on a deal and say, hey, if you can't get this offense to score points better, and if you can't get your special teams to kick a field goal or punt without getting it blocked, you're going to be gone. Look, I don't care if Nebraska loses that game to Indiana. Indiana is a great football team, folks. Now watch. They'll go out next week and lay a complete stinker and get beat and then make me feel even worse. But Indiana looked and has looked through 7 games this year like a college football playoff team, which is amazing considering they have a first-year head coach in Kurt Cignetti. And I think that's why Nebraska fans, like yours truly, are angry. We have been like Moses wandering out in the desert for 40 years looking for just a successful season and can't find it. Yet Indiana, who is a basketball school by far more than a football school, plucks a coach from James Madison, which is a very good program, mind you. Great hire by them. And he goes out here and he's got them in the college football playoff in year number 1. Now, there's a lot of factors that go into this, that are different over the years. There's transfer portal and all that stuff, which can change your team directly. And if you want to be that team, you can. Now, Indiana could have a horrific year next year because all these guys will graduate or move on, and they got to start off from scratch, and they may not have much. So it could be a bad year next year for Indiana while they enjoy it this year. Maybe Nebraska's building the slow build up here. I don't know. And I don't mind, in fact, Max, that they lost the game. Okay, you lose the game. But 56-7 is the problem. At least be competitive. And guess what happens this Saturday, Max? They go to Ohio State, who lost to Oregon, who had a bye. You don't think Ohio State's mad? Oh my gosh. I don't even turn on your television, folks. Just curl up in the fetal position if you wear Husker red. It ain't gonna be pretty. Nebraska football, the biggest loser of this weekend. What in the world is going on? That defense was elite. Being talked about as being one of the best in the country, gets absolutely exposed by Indiana. Now, that was rough. That was horrible. Horrific. I didn't even get to watch it. I listened to it on the radio because I was driving still to Missouri for this wedding. I listened to it on the radio. Awful. Just awful. Total loser of the weekend, Nebraska football. That's my only one. I spent a long time on it. I'm sorry, but that was bad. And that was nothing compared to probably what I would have said Sunday morning and Monday morning. So I guess another 24 hours, the pain is gone away a little bit.
We've all been there, Ross. We've all
Oh,
been there.
I know. Every fan of some team has been there at some point in time, but boy, that was not what I was expecting. I was expecting either a close loss or a close win, not getting absolutely. And by the way, it always happens on national television, big noon kickoff. So the whole country can see that you are pathetic.
Well, next week will be great then. On
Yeah,
big
and now
noon
it's
again.
back weeks of that. Because then they're on big noon kickoff again next week. Oh my gosh, just horrific. I was expecting that kind of beatdown against Ohio State, not against Indiana. Ugh. All right. One more. Another quick loser.
No, the Bucks
all right.
for my loser. You covered the Cornhuskers.
Oh, you were on that too? Okay. Well, that was awful. All right. We're going to get to a quick break. We'll come back in the walk-off, and we'll update you on our pick 6 picks of the weekend. How did we do? That's next here in the Blitz.
The one hail of a sale continues at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. Get huge savings on not just lightly hailed on vehicles, but also ones that don't have hail or have had the hail fixed. For example, a 24 GMC Sierra 1500 Denali with no hail up to $7,000 off when you're a loyal Buick or GMC owner, now just over $68K. A 24 Chevy Tahoe RST with hail up to $14,000 off, now just $58K. It's one hail of a sale, and it continues at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. Online at hurlchev.com.
If you're shopping for a banking institution, visit with Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, and Quinter, Kansas. The Equity Bank is heavily invested in local business and activities contributing in many ways back to their community. Their employees are involved with many organizations and area events. Plus, a lot of experience comes with that staff. You'll find valuable local assistance when you bank at the Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, Quinter, and other locations in Western Kansas. The Equity Bank, member FDIC.
The Farmers State Bank of Oakley has been financing agriculture since the day we opened our doors. Hello, this is Corbin, and we are proud to be your locally owned partner in ag. We invite you to come and visit with us when you need to purchase new or used farm equipment, or need any type of agriculture or business loan. We have the knowledge, experience, and financial resources to keep you growing. The Farmers State Bank of Oakley, a tradition of community and agriculture for over 115 years. Member FDIC.
Ross Volkmer.
I love him. I think he's great.
Okay.
I think he's a real winner.
It's the Morning Blitz.
All right, we just got a couple minutes left to go. We'll get to the walk-off here in a second. I got to get to the text line. Listener Jared, who is a longtime listener, he's there making fun of Matt Rule, saying this truly surprises you, a Matt Rule team. I know Matt Rule has had some bad showings and some bad numbers in his career. But you have to remember, once again, Jared, where he's been and who he's been coaching. I mean, Temple was awful when he took over and got them into a 10-win season. And then he took over a Baylor program, by the way, that was after that whole ordeal that went down there. And he completely redid that and got them into the Big 12 title game. So, and then as soon as he gets it good, he moves on. So once again, I still think the jury is out on Matt Rule. He just hasn't been anywhere long enough to really see that. Now, I do want to say that his record against top 25 teams is not good. And you want to know the really most embarrassing stat of the weekend for Nebraska football fans is that Nebraska is lost 26 straight to ranked foes. 26 straight losses to ranked foes. The last time Nebraska won a ranked game, Max, where were you in 2011? What grade? Fourth grade. Max, who's on this show, was in fourth grade the last time Nebraska won a won a game against a ranked foe. That is that long ago. Pain, folks. Pain with a capital P.
Hate to see
a lot of pain.
Hate to see it.
Just a lot of pain. All right. With that, we got to get to the walk-off. We are up against the clock. Let's get to it now.
A 3-run walk-off home run. A game-winning walk-off with a walk-off. His second walk-off hit of the season. In walk-off fashion. That baby's gone.
The only place that there wasn't pain was in Ross's picks for the first time this season. I had a good weekend. What did you have, Max?
I also had a good weekend, and there's one. So the only thing I obviously had Arizona to win and cover, which was not remotely close to happening. And then I had Indiana winning but not covering.
So you went what would have been 4-2.
Yes.
Well, your boy got it right. I went 5-1. I had KU with the win, K-State with the win, Colorado wins outright with the win. I had Kansas City with the win over the Niners, and I had Army over East Carolina covering the 16.5, but barely. That was a 17-point win by Army. How does Vegas knows that? I mean, it's unbelievable what Vegas knows. And then, of course, my only thing was I thought Nebraska would be under 49.5. Well, Indiana had more points themselves. So,
I did have Tennessee to beat Alabama.
You did have a good pick there. Very well done, young man.
To beat Alabama, and then I had the Chiefs. And I also did say that KU was going to win by a couple touchdowns. So that was true, even though, Houston's terrible.
4-2 is a great record. It's a great record.
And the Chiefs to win and cover. So, I mean, that was just a win as a cover in that game because it was a half a point, I think. But
yeah, it was pretty much pick 'em anyway.
Yeah. So good week. Good first week, I think. From
a great first week, just not as good as 5-1, and that's okay. We'll try again next week.
Better overall win percentage, though, Ross, than you so far.
That's a fact, but you had to make as many picks. But that is a fact. All right, that'll do it for our show today. I know it's kind of a weird one with Max joining late. Tomorrow, we'll get back on schedule on a Wednesday. Things will be back to normal. For Max, I'm Ross. We'll see you tomorrow here on The Blitz. Thanks for listening.
Rocket 102.5, KKCI, Goodland, Colby, Burlington.